Today you're going to do an activity called hexagonal thinking. It's called hexagonal thinking because the activity is made up of all of these hexagons that you connect in lots of different ways to other hexagons. Now, this is what one finished product looked like. This was from a science class. Yours might have a shape that ends up like this, or it might not. Here's how you do this. You're going to have a hexagon and you're going to add a word to it, and then you're going to figure out what other ways you could connect that word to another word. You're going to see each hexagon has a chance for you to make 6 different connections. It just because you can make 6 doesn't mean every hexagon will be connected to 6. You're going to see right here that after the person added renewable energy to this hexagon, they slid over 2 hexagons because they thought they could make 2 connections to renewable energy. One connection they made was the Paris Agreement, and one connection was mitigation. There's one word in here that connects to 6 different words. You're going to see that that only happens one time. And up here, you're going to see one word is only connected to one other word. It all depends on how you see these words as connected. Once you have connected all of your hexagons in some way, you're going to pick your 5 best connections and you're going to drag an arrow over to the connection spot. So, one connection that this student made was carbon dioxide and fossil fuels. Their next job is to explain how the student could make a connection between these 2 words. Their next best connection was mitigation and alternative energy. So you could see they connected here, they connected these 2 words. Their last connection, it looks like they connected these 3 things. I can tell by where they placed their arrow that they're connecting ice caps to polar bears and global warming. So sometimes your connection is just going to be to one other word. Sometimes it's going to be to a couple different words. Sometimes it's going to be to 3 or 4. This is what your starting deck looks like. What I like to do is move all of these hexagons off to the side and move all the arrows and words off to the side so I have a blank paper. I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so you see I have now moved everything off to the side, that margin area, and I've got a blank page. I'm going to pick one hexagon and maybe put it here in the middle. And let's see, I think I'm going to pick identity because I think identity might be connected to many things. I'm going to drag that over to this hexagon. Now I'm going to grab another hexagon and try to match up the edges and say, what could I connect to identity? Maybe I would want to say, well, the identity is an internal conflict. And so maybe I've done that. Now I start seeing, can I connect identity to anything else? And let's say that I did find something to connect identity to. I have to decide, is the word I'm going to connect it to related to identity and internal conflict? If so, I'm going to put the hexagon there. If it's only connected to identity, I'm going to put it there. So you're just going to keep adding hexagons where you see connections, add words so that you can say what those connections are. And then when you're finished, you're going to take your arrow and point it to whatever you think are your strongest connections. You can move an arrow by holding and dragging. So I just moved that arrow by clicking right here and used my mouse to kind of twirl it around. When you're finished, so let's say that that is one of my good connections. I'm going to drag that around too so it kind of matches in there. When you're finished making all 5 of your strongest connections or pointing those out, then you're coming to this last slide and you're going to write the words that you connected, identity and internal conflict are connected because, and then you would explain your thinking. And you would just repeat that process until your whole page is full. All of your terms are used, and you've figured out what are your 5 best connections, and then you've explained them on the next slide.